Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you today about tax-free savings accounts, exciting stuff. So I get a lot of questions about whether or not a tax-free savings account is the way to go, or should you be buying an RSP. So first of all, the tax-free savings account was created in 2009, and every year you get a little bit more room. But remember, you don't get room until you're 18, so don't start contributing before that because you can't. But when you're 18, you start to collect all this room, $5,000 a year, and then with inflation, they keep increasing how much you can put away each year. You can put the money in. As it grows, you don't pay any income tax on what you make. So if you make 10%, you're not having to pay any income tax on that money made. Now, when you go to take out of the tax-free savings account, it's awesome because it doesn't trigger any taxes. You don't have to add it back to your income or anything like that. So there really is a no-lose. The mistake that I think people are making with the tax-free savings account is they're using it as their emergency fund, which, okay, that's fine, except there's so much value in the tax-free savings account to actually grow your wealth. So you want to actually be making the most money in your tax-free savings account because you're never going to actually have to pay any income tax. So I think that people should actually be using it more for a long-term strategy, not a short-term emergency fund. Let's talk about RSPs for a second. When you put money into an RSP, you immediately get a tax deduction. So if you're making $100,000, you put $10,000 into an RSP, what's going to happen is it brings down your income to $90,000 because remember, you're at 100, you put in 10,000, now you're at 90,000. That's all great. Now, as you make money and as your RSP compounds over time, you will eventually take that money out. And when you do, you're not going to pay any income tax while you've had it in there and while it's growing, but once you actually take it out, you are going to be taxed. So if you take out 20 grand from your RSP, you have to add that to your income for the year. So that's the biggest difference between tax-free savings accounts and RSPs. When you put into a TFSA, you don't actually deduct anything off your income tax, but you do get the tax-free growth forever. But when you go to take out your TFSA, you don't have to add it to your income. So you can see how that's very valuable. When you go to retire way down the road, what's going to happen is you're going to want a few different things. You're going to want to be able to control your tax situation. So if you only have RSPs, and this is where RSPs get a really bad rep, is if you only have RSPs, then the issue is if you need a new car, for example, and you want to pay cash for that car. Let's say the car's 30 grand. You're going to probably have to pull out 50,000 from your RSP because you've got to pay the tax. So to get 30, you got to take out 50. If you only have RSPs, every time you need something, you're putting yourself in a higher and higher tax bracket. If you have a little bit of both, then what's great about this is you're going to end up where you can say, okay, I'm going to take 15,000 out of my TFSA, pay no tax, and then the other 15,000, I'm going to maybe have to pull 20 or 25,000 out of my RSP to buy this car. So you're giving yourself way more fluctuation or way more flexibility down the road. Okay, so who's hotter, RSPs or TFSAs? It depends. They're both hot in their own ways. So when you put money into an RSP, remember, your RSP room is generated by the earned income. So money that you make each year creates your RSP limit. Make sure for RSPs and TFSAs that you know your limit and you stay within it. The reason for this is because if you go over, there are major penalties that will come into play to the tune of like 1% a month. So you want to just make sure that you know your limits. And there are different ways you can check what your limits are. Now, every year you get, for the TFSA, for example, we're in 2020, anyone who was over the age of 18 was given another $6,000 of room. So now you can put that $6,000 in for this year. If your TFSA is maxed, and as of 2020, you can have $69,500. This is here in Canada. When you take money out, if you're at your max, if you say take out $20,000 this year, you have to wait until the following calendar year to put that money back in. So you can't take out $20,000 if you're maxed and then put another 20 back in, because now you're over your limit by $20,000. So you have to actually wait. Come December 31st, you can take the money out. January 1st, you can put it all back, including the growth. Okay, so follow me with this one. Let's say you have $50,000 in your TFSA and you've put in 50 grand and it grows to 55,000. And then you take out 55,000 because you're buying a house. Okay. The following calendar year, you can put back the entire 55,000. But remember, 50,000 was your contribution. 5,000 was the interest or growth that you made on your investment. So a lot of people don't realize that you can actually put back your growth the following calendar year. Okay, big warning with RSPs. So RSPs, like I had mentioned in maybe a previous video that you've watched, but with your RSP, you create your room by income that you've earned. So the mistake I think a lot of people will end up making is they'll put money into their RSP, they'll run into a cash situation, so then they'll pull money out of their RSPs. The issue with doing that, and where it's a huge detriment to you long term, is that you can never get your RSP room back. With a tax-free savings account, you get your room back the following year. RSP room doesn't work that way. You lose your room forever. So if you think about money that is compounding over 20, 30 years, it's a really big deal. So if it's not compounding tax-free or tax-deferred in an RSP, you're losing out on all that value over many, many, many years. So really think twice before pulling money out of your RSP, because it'll really work against you. If you want to learn more about TFSAs and RSPs, follow me on Instagram @BuyTheLatte. And if you go to my bio, you'll be able to click a link to my YouTube channel, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on anything related to tax-free savings accounts, RSPs, and my other various topics that I like to discuss. And just remember, if you invest, you can keep buying that latte.